free mind. You crazy for this. Soulful. It's like our responsibility to make us feel something. You know, to make people feel. Make people feel what we feeling. Hey, yo.
Regie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is the Ready, Set, Go preview show, a show that we do on Sunday night to get the week started off on the right foot. And as part of this show, I give you a rundown of some of the content that is going to be coming out from the channel over the course of the week. And then I also talk about some news and current events, things that are top of mind for me and may also be top of mind for you. But because it is a holiday weekend, we may have a truncated show tonight. I have to give a huge shout out to my neighbor Neil, who watches the channel. He gave me a ride to the house. We were at a event, community event here, and the wife and the family had the golf cart. Neil was able to put me in the Polaris and got me here on time for the show. And fingers crossed is going to come back and pick me up, because we are doing some fireworks here in the neighborhood. Hopefully everybody's going to have a good time and we will not be rained out. But as a result of trying to celebrate the 4th of July, this could be a short show. Shout out to all the Canadians. Happy Canada Day for everyone that is in Canada that is watching the channel. And there is a large contingent of comic book soldiers in Canada. So I definitely want to take a moment to acknowledge them. And again, if you are in the United States, happy 4th of July to you. Stay safe as you celebrate this weekend. All right, with that, we are going to jump into some things here in a hot moment. I will have a guest. That is going to join me for one of the things that is most top of mind for me. So I definitely encourage you guys to stay tuned. Squirrel Madness, how you doing, brother? He is throwing up the Canadian flag. Where is that? There he is. He's throwing up the Canadian flag. That's what's up. Doug is always supportive. Where's Tina? Tina, what's funny is I'm riding in the Polaris with you, Tina. I'm riding in the Polaris with Neil, and Neil says, "Is Tina your sister?" And I said, no, Neil, she is not my sister. She is just a very good friend that I've had the privilege of getting to know pretty well over several years. But he thought you were a plant, Tina. He thought you were a plant. And I had to tell him that you are not a plant. You are not a blood relative or a relative by relation. You are just a very good friend that I am very thankful for. Chris Bigger's in the house. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. My man Randy Snake is up in the house. Randy, it is always good to see you, my friend. Trev, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Trev is a Patreon member and also recently became a subscriber to the Swoldier supply box. I definitely appreciate you, brother. We are putting together a very good box for this month, and I hope that you will enjoy it. What does that say? Listening to Regie outside tonight because I locked myself, brother. That is not the style, Liger. That is not the move, brother. Fingers crossed that you are able to get yourself inside so that you can watch the show from the comfort of your actual house on the inside. Kevin is in the house. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Lewis is up in here. Philtastic, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Scrolling through the names here. We appreciate all Gibbons, no matter the country. That is well said, brother. And what's fascinating is that there are a lot of Gibbon Gang members and a lot of comic book soldiers located all across the world. And the Gibbon Gang and the contingency of soldiers continues to grow. I think in this last week, we're getting close to like an extra 100 members just in like the last little bit here. So shout out. If you are watching this show right now and you are new to the channel, or if this is your first live stream, we want to hear from you. Let us know in the comment section who you might be so that we can welcome you. And if you are not in the United States of America, let us know what country you hail from, because to the point of Master Blaster, we celebrate everybody, right? Steven, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Scrolling through, my man Herman, how you doing? He said, July 5th will be the day I have to clean up all the firework debris from the various neighborhoods. That's what's up, brother. What's up? What's crazy as I set off some fireworks for the kids last night, my wife was in the backyard moving one of the sprinklers, and she said to me, you know that one just hit the house, right? I'm like, no, babe, I did not know that it hit the house. But hey, stuff happens, okay? When you have the big Roman candle, stuff happens, okay? Nothing was set on fire, though. Let's be super clear about that. I wish Regie would say Polaris correctly. Do I not say it correct? What is the correct pronunciation? Do I not say Polaris? Is it like Porsche, where I say Porsche and it's actually Porsche? Or do I have that in reverse? I don't know. scrolling through, there's sister from another mister. There you go. It is good to see all of you guys. All right, let me give you guys a rundown of some of the content that's going to be coming out from the channel over the course of this week. There is some good stuff that is coming. I'm scrolling through the comments here. Why is the house on fire? Fingers crossed that the house does not get set on fire. Yeah, I was about to make a joke about the sugar box, but let's not go there. Let me see. It is good. It is ungood. It is ungood. No doubt about that. You guys are hilarious. I'm laughing at the comments that are popping up. All right, so let me give you guys a rundown of some of the content that's going to be coming out from the channel over the course of this week. We have several pre-recorded videos, and then, of course, one live stream that we'll be doing on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week, we have a Don't Buy These Books Now video that will be dropping, and that video that video contains my thoughts on some books that are out there that people may be thinking about picking up, where I'm basically saying now might not be the time to actually buy these books. It's a cautionary note. At the end of the day, it's your money, your collection. You have to figure out what actually makes sense for you. But I try to highlight a couple of books that if it were me, if it were my money, I would not necessarily buy those books. Now, here's the thing. The counterpart to that video is buy these books now, or snag these books now is technically the term, or the theme of this one. And in this video, I identify some books that are experiencing a value or price dip. And these books are on the decline, and it could be a good time to pick these books up, especially if these books are on your list. Sometimes there's books out there that we've wanted for a long time that, because of what was happening in 2020 and 2021, those books were not in our reach, but now could be the time for some of those books. So you have the two sides of the coin. Don't buy these books now because they're still hot and still expensive. And the other side is, hey, here are some books that are experiencing a decline in value, and they could be a good buy, good opportunity for you to pick them up should you choose to. In all things, it's your money, your collection. You have to decide what is in the best interest of you. But those two videos will be coming out this week. And then there's also a video that I'm doing called Before Overstreet. And a lot of people recognize the importance of Overstreet, the historical significance of the pricing guide. There is something that actually came before Overstreet that we are going to be talking about in this particular video. And then, as I mentioned, there is the Comics Today show on Wednesday night, and that show is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The other three pre-recorded videos are basically released at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. So a lot of great content that's going to be coming out from the channel over the course of this week. And in addition to that, we are going to be releasing one podcast, and the podcast will drop on Monday at 10 a.m. So a lot of great content that is coming out. I'm off Monday, so I may get frisky and I may go live. So you guys will have to stay tuned just in case I go live on Monday as well. So there you go. Let me go to the chat real quick. I think I'm all caught up. Liger Style says, thank God for good weather in NYC. There you go. A couple of people saying use a brick. Do not use a brick. Okay. Do not do that. 2 books on your wall are on my radar. I'm going to guess the Batman Adventures 12 and let's go with X-Men 266. Am I right? Am I right, sir? Master Blaster, am I right? That is the question. Allow me to save some face and at least tell me that I am correct. All right, that's all that I ask from you. All right, so a lot of really cool things that are going to be coming up from the channel. and a lot of cool things in general, but specifically there are a lot of cool things that are coming up with Isolation. We are going to be doing a little bit of a tour, a little bit. I got one or two. Okay, I feel, hey, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. I had a good shot. There's 14 books back there, right? So I scored at least one. You can't go wrong with that. There are a lot of really good things that are happening with Isolation, some of which you guys are aware of. One of the more important things that we have announced is our attendance at San Diego Comic-Con. I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con ever, and I'm now going to have an opportunity to do a CGC signing. We're going to be signing Isolation issue number 1 at San Diego Comic-Con in the CGC booth. Talk about a dream come true. Now, here's the thing. Before we get to the signing at San Diego Comic-Con on Sunday, there are some things that are going to be happening earlier in the week because Doug and I will be there all week. We are going to be making some appearances at a couple of booths at San Diego Comic-Con. We are going to be at the Short Boxed booth. Huge fan of this app. I am friends with the folks that own this thing, that run this thing. It is an app of the community, and I'm going to be with Doug in the booth at Shortboxed, and dates and times and all that kind of stuff will be revealed. So stay tuned for that. But on another day, we are going to be in the booth with Nerdy Girl and Skeleton Key Comics. Sammy from Skeleton Key Comics, they have a booth at San Diego Comic-Con. We are going to be in the booth with them. So we're going to spend some time on a couple of different days and a couple of different booths leading up to this signing at CGC. So you will have an opportunity to meet up with us and pick up copies of Isolation. That is, if you have not already ordered one, you can actually pick up copies on site at San Diego Comic-Con and then turn those books in to the CGC booth for the signing with the signature and all that kind of stuff. And I think Doug and I basically are charging $5 per signature. We had to charge something, so we picked like the lowest number possible. Both of us were a little uncomfortable with charging people, but this is what we've decided to do. You can get your yellow label signed books of Isolation issue number 1 at San Diego Comic-Con. Plus, you get an opportunity if you're interested in hanging out with us a little bit, and we will be at a couple of booths scheduled to be forthcoming. But part of the reason why I am talking about this right now is because we have a special cover that is going to be rolled out at San Diego Comic-Con. This cover will only be available at a con. And so what I wanted to do was I actually wanted to have the artist come on, the artist that worked with us on this fantastic cover. I wanted to have her come on and spend a little bit of time talking with us about what it is that she's created. And I was originally going to put it up on screen, then invite her on, but I think I'm just going to have her come on first. I think that I'm feeling frisky. I'm feeling frisky tonight, so I'm going to call a little bit of an audible. But I want to welcome to the show right now, Beth. How are you doing?
Hi, Reggie. I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
We need to jack up your audio, Beth, so that we can hear you. We see you clearly, but we need to be able to hear you as well. Go ahead, Beth.
All right. Is that any better?
That is slightly better. I can hear the wonderful accent, but if we can go a little bit louder, that would be even better.
All right. Let me try and bring the computer closer to me. I'm in my friend's house, so, new setup from last time as well.
All right, so I can hear you better. I think that works. I'm going to actually try to tweak you a little bit on my side. I saw on the Instagram machine, Beth, that you are in Vermont. You are in Vermont right now. There may be an appearance of a dog in Bentley, who is Doug's dog, may get a little jealous, but I think that it will be okay. All right?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So, Beth, I want to go ahead and pull up this. Hold on. I am now getting some feedback. Bear with me, Beth, as I'm making another adjustment. All right, that's better. All right, so let me go ahead and pull this cover up, Beth, so that people can get a look at this thing for the very first time. And once I do, I want to talk with you about what it is that we are actually seeing. And here is the piece here. When I look at this, Beth, what I see is an abstract piece of art. Is that how you would describe this, or would you use some other fancy term for what I am actually seeing right now?
I think abstract is a great term, Reggie. I think it encompasses a lot of what we were trying to accomplish. I know that when we had our first conversation, you wanted to focus more on the feeling that accompanies this piece rather than that classic comic book bits of the story or very graphic elements. You were looking more for, what does isolation feel like to me? What does this character feel like to me? And seeing if I could try and put that onto a piece of art that you could use as a cover.
So when you say the feel of isolation, the feel of what this character is experiencing, what is that feeling? Because I know that I have a reaction to it, right? But when you were putting this together, what was the feeling that you wanted the viewer to have when they look at this cover?
I wanted a very almost overwhelming type feeling. I know that when I spoke to Doug, I had him run through a bit more detail of what's going on and some little secrets that I could use to try and put into this cover. I've got to choose my words so that Doug doesn't get too mad at me. But I think the main thing I took away from that conversation was, this is a mystery and there's a lot of elements overlapping and a lot of things are going on behind the scenes. And these characters are kind of in the middle of something much bigger than they are. And I wanted that to come across in the cover. I wanted there to be a feeling of almost claustrophobia, of being overwhelmed by the things around you and trying to fight your way out.
Because you can almost feel like whatever it is weighing her down. Like she feels the weight of the enormity of what is actually going on. And one of the things that I really love, and maybe you can speak to it, is we all watch these movies where there is a mystery. And there's oftentimes that person that is trying to put the mystery together and they have that board with the red lines and the photos and this dot connects to that dot. Is that also what we are seeing in the background behind her? Those wonderful gold lines, is that what we're seeing?
That is absolutely what you're seeing. A conspiracy theory board was one of the things that I was thinking of. I knew I wanted a background in there that added to the story, that I could overlay the actual image of the person on top of. And I was playing around with different things and nothing really stuck right. And then I thought, well, what about a conspiracy theory board? Mysteries and someone who's really like dug into an investigation with all those papers splayed out and the chaos of things stuck on top of each other and all those strings moving around. I thought that could really add an interesting element, not only to the sort of overwhelming feeling of the piece, but the gold lines could also sort of create a more structured part to the organic nature of the rest of it.
Because it is, in my mind, the reason I asked about the abstract nature of this is that this doesn't necessarily look like a comic book cover, right? Like this is very different. And I remember when Doug sent me some initial samples of your work, I was honestly blown away because it's different. And I felt like we needed to do something different. Like we should do something different, especially for a con exclusive. I felt like it should be something unique. You know what I'm saying? But talk with me a little bit about how you actually created this, right? Because there was like a two-step process, if you will, and my simple mind reduces it to that, right? Or I should say my non-creative mind reduces it to that. Talk with us a little bit about the process of creating what we are seeing on screen here.
Yeah. So I think, like with most people, when you go into a creative endeavor, I really had to have a very long conversation with both yourself and with Doug. And I remember you left a little earlier in the conversation, and then Doug and I basically stuck in for about, 30, 40 minutes, really hammering out his vision and what he's seeing. And that's a really important part of when I create a piece like this, because, you know, I really want to know exactly what he's feeling when he's making this story. I want to know what he's identifying with, so that I can then latch onto that and then add a bit of what I feel when I also look at it. So it's sort of an amalgamation of both. So the first step is always, for me, talk to the person who's asked me to create a cover and really dig deep into what they're seeing. And then I take that, I write about, you know, 3 pages of notes, just scribble it all down.
Oh, really? Of the conversation. So as you're going through the conversation, you're taking notes on what's being said.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
As you experience when we have our meetings as well, I'm constantly scribbling things down.
Yep.
So it's yeah, it helps me organize my thoughts. And if during that conversation I see an image that I want to put on paper so I don't forget it, I also do that. So those are the thumbnails, is what I call them. They're little, you know, basically the size of your thumbnail, little tiny sketches with your concept, basic poses, basic ideas for the background, really like basic shapes and composition stuff. So that's all done on paper traditionally. I go through about 10 different thumbnails, pick out 5 that I really like, and I usually end up showing it to a third party who's not involved in anything, who can just look at it and go, that looks weird, this looks less weird, and I really like these 2. And that helps me narrow down the concepts, which I then scan in digitally.
Yep. And I think that we saw maybe 4, maybe 3 or 4, I can't remember exactly. And they were all good. But when I saw this one, I was like, that is the one, right? So I hear you have the conversation, you capture all these notes, 3 pages or so of just Doug rambling. You then draw some thumbnails, you whittle the thumbnails down to a couple of thumbnails. Ultimately, you show a couple of those thumbnails, and then you take the best of them and you move them into the digital realm. Why do you move them into the digital realm versus just staying traditional and moving down that path?
It really depends on the project. I do sometimes stay traditional, especially if I have a really nice long amount of time, maybe 2 months or a month, to really get it exactly how I want it. But especially with something like this that is so abstract and so feeling based, I find that digital is really helpful, because you can do that kind of chaotic adding and subtracting and erasing and redoing, and you can undo the steps that go too far, and you can bring it back and push it forward. And it's much more malleable than a traditional pen and ink and then paint on top of that. I have much more freedom to really, you know, make mistakes, is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get those mistakes out so that I can then find and chisel away at what I actually want to come through.
There we go. So for those folks that are coming in a little late, we are talking with Beth Sharland. She is the artist that worked on this cover right here. This is a cover for Isolation issue #1 that is going to be released at San Diego Comic-Con, where Doug and I will be. You can actually pick this up from us at San Diego Comic-Con, and we are having a wonderful discussion about this amazing cover that I absolutely love. But you then move into the digital realm. It allows you to have some fun, to move things around, to make mistakes, to undo things, to add layers, to see what works. I'm guessing change proportions and things like that. But I want to talk a little bit about the colors.
Yeah.
How did you arrive at the purple and golds? Because that palette, again, is not one that you see all that often. Why purple golds, or is it purple and yellow? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, so originally, again, in our original conversation, you mentioned maybe doing a color scheme that was more reminiscent of those, you know, Swoldier colors, the red, the black, and the white. Those really classic Isolation colors as well. And so that was the original plan, was to work with that red. But speaking to Doug and learning about the character, and also thinking about the mood that I wanted to set with this piece, I started going more towards the blues, the purples, the more introspective colors, ones that are more almost, they make you think more than just kind of punchy comic book reds and, you know, bright yellows.
So let's just be clear. Red is a wonderful color, Beth. Okay.
And
Let's just be very clear about that. Okay. So please continue though.
yeah,
Please continue.
red is a fantastic, it's actually my favorite. I don't know if you knew that, Reggie. I just want to put that out.
But keep going. I'm sorry. Blues and introspective, all that good stuff. Keep talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I really love that color combination as well. So selfishly, it's one of my favorite to work with, mostly because it's one you don't see very often. So when it comes around, especially in comics, when it comes around on a shelf, that color combination kind of jumps out more than the more classic, naturalistic colors that are in more traditional covers. And since this was trying to go away from the traditional comic book cover, I thought having the purplish blue and the gold as a complement to the purple was the way to go.
It really is well done. I mean, and it looks like the sketch that you sent over to us, but it really is amazing. And I honestly cannot wait to get this thing in my hand, because it just looks, it is incredible. It is really well done. Now when someone looks at this style, is this very much in line with Beth's style? Like, you know, like characterize this versus what you would traditionally or normally do. Is this right in your wheelhouse, or is it a little bit off center, if you will, of where you would normally be?
I think this is where I want to be, shall we say. When working in comics, you often have to adjust your style to fit the story and to fit the person hiring you, their vision of the story. Yep. So sometimes you're not able to really work exactly where you want to. But I mean, the great thing about this and this project is that that mystery, horror, thriller element really vibes very well with the kind of style that I like to do. And that is a more chaotic, more sketch based, more line work than less clean outlines that you would normally see. That is really the kind of thing I love to do. I do it a lot when I do figure drawing. When I'm drawing someone from life, I'm drawing lots of little lines, mainly because drawing a really clean outline is very difficult for me to do. So I prefer to have lots of little lines that I can choose the line I want when I move forward. So it has become my style because I'm not very good at working clean. So I've adapted to use a more sketch-focused style. But
it works. At the end of the day, it works, because I think that this turned out incredibly well. You know, now talk a little bit about what your actual role is on Isolation, because it's a little different, right? So for those folks that may have never seen you before, not seen you on the previous show, what role do you actually play for the Isolation comic?
So I am the letterer for the Isolation comic. So I put all those words in those balloons, and I put the artwork with the script, mash it together, and that finished product, that legible, readable finished product, is what I create.
Which is an art in of itself. Let's be super clear about that, right? Like, you can have some lettering that is jacked up, and you can have some lettering that adds to the story and allows the story to unfold. And I think that that's one of the wonderful, that I don't know that I fully appreciated that until I started working on this project. And I'm like, this is actually an art. Like, you have to think about where these things go, and you have to make it make sense and flow. I didn't fully appreciate that. And I'm glad that I've worked on this project, because I now look at lettering very differently now. I look at the artistic side of it, but how does one become a letterer, but then also have the ability to draw and digitally paint as well as you're doing here for this cover? Talk a little bit about that.
So I was lucky enough to go to a school in Dover, New Jersey, the Cubit School. The artist for Isolation, Delia Gunderson, also went to the Cubit School. And the artist assistant, Elena Morton, also went. So it's a group of cubits, you know, doing this project. And yeah, it's a 3-year intensive school designed to teach you the ins and outs of how to be a comic book artist. So they do lettering classes. It's one of your 10 classes, is lettering. And so I was learning how to, you know, storyboard, how to create a script, how to make a comic, how to ink color, all of it. And in my 3rd year, I was lucky enough to have one of the teachers ask me to basically do assistant lettering for him.
Oh, wow.
Help him with some of the excess lettering work that he's doing. His name is Taylor Esposito, and he does a lot of stuff for Zenescope and some stuff for DC. So he asked me to help him out, and that's how I started doing lettering, was as an assistant under a letterer. And that's basically how I learned the real practical ins and outs of what it actually takes to do it.
That's cool. If you had to pick one, which path would you go down? Being a letterer or being an artist? Well, let me restate. Being an illustrator, because a letterer is an artist. So let's be, again, clear about that. If you had to pick one, which path would you choose to go down?
It's a really difficult question. Lettering has given me so much that I really wouldn't have had otherwise. It's given me a lot of tools that I think just a traditional artist wouldn't be exposed to. So I'm very grateful for it. I think overall, I would very much like to do the artwork, and storyboarding is another thing that I really love doing.
Okay.
But I could be very, very happy doing lettering and inking for comics as well. Just those two things together would be fantastic. I'd really enjoy doing that as a.
That's all right. I didn't know what you were going to say. So I was like, let me at least ask this question and see which direction she goes in. I like had no clue.
Yeah.
I want to show you one thing, Beth, as we get ready to wrap up here. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if I've shared it. I'm honestly, Beth, I'm hoping you like it, because if you don't, then this could be a real problem for me. Okay. It could be a real problem if you don't like it. But here is the cover. We've added an embellishment to the cover. Let me blow this up, and I'm going to give you a second to process through what you're actually seeing before I go to you for your reaction. But what we had thought about was trying to add something to the cover that basically said, hey, this is a con exclusive kind of thing. And so this is a gold seal. I think it's like embossed or something like that. If you don't like it, it was Doug's idea. If you like it, it was my idea. So Beth, what do you think of this embellishment that we are potentially maybe going to add to your cover?
As always, Reggie, I think you're a genius. So it's clearly amazing. No, I think it's fantastic. I really think it's very cool. And I think you've chosen the perfect place to put it as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great location for it. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't do anything. Okay. I just want to be really clear, right? So it was Doug's idea.
Yep.
The idea was made better by Scott, right? Because
Okay.
Scott does the layout. You know Scott. He did the layout. He also picked the spot, right? And I have to give a shout out to Dennis, Kingpin Comics, who may be in the room. He actually did the design for the sticker. I may be the person that affixes the sticker to the individual books. That may be my actual job. But honestly, we wanted to do something a little special. And so we wanted to kind of, because this is going to be a virgin cover of Isolation, we wanted to have something that, I mean, even though the word isolation is not mentioned anywhere here, we wanted to have a little something on there, which is why we went with the gold foil, which kind of sort of matches your wonderful gold lines. And I think the placement is smart. I think it's a smart placement. So
I think it's fun. I think it looks fantastic. Honestly, I really do like it where it is. I think it looks great with the lines going around it as well.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, as I was getting ready to segue into this, I was like, oh man, I have not shown this to her. This could go really bad. So, Beth, as always, I want to. I always enjoy talking with you. I don't know what it is, but I always enjoy my conversations with you. Part of it is definitely that accent. You cannot go wrong with the accent. Everything you say is just wonderful. I'm gonna just use the word wonderful from here on out. But Beth, it has been an absolute pleasure. Before I let you go, where can people get a hold of you? And I do think that several people have actually followed you on the Instagram machine. But where can people get a hold of you if they want to check out more of your artwork?
Yeah, I think Instagram is the best place. It's definitely where I'm most active. And I think my handle is @threshold_ink. I think that's the best place. A lot of what I do, obviously, I can't post and I can't talk about. But anything I can will be posted on Instagram.
the good news is now you can talk about this cover. Now that it's no longer a secret, you can actually talk about it. So
Thankfully, yeah.
I've had people ask me, Chris Bigger, one of the guys that subscribes to the channel, he was asking me, how many secrets do you have left? And I'm like, brother, how much time do you have? Because I always keep some secrets, but it feels good to finally release this one, because I really do think that this cover is amazing. And I cannot wait until you work on the cover for issue 2, because for those people that don't know, issue 2 of Isolation is in the works, and Beth is going to be doing a cover for that as well. So I'm definitely excited about that. All right.
Absolutely. I'm super excited. I'm working on issue 2, the lettering right now, and it's looking really great. I'm very happy with how it's going.
I'm glad you're happy, because if you're happy, Beth, then everybody's going to be happy. No, seriously. Thank you very much for coming on. It is, again, a pleasure to chat with you. Enjoy Vermont, and I'm confident that we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much, Reggie. You have a good one.
Take care.
Yep.
Oh, I almost cut her off at the very end. But it was okay. So again, we just had a wonderful conversation with Beth Sharland. She is the letterer that is working on Isolation right now, but we also picked her to do a cover for us of Isolation issue number 1. She did an absolute fantastic job with that cover that will be available at San Diego Comic-Con. And I will tell you guys, we are going on a little bit of a book tour, a little bit of a tour, if you will. So we're going to be in California, July 1st through the 24th for San Diego Comic-Con. There is a good chance that we're going to be in Tennessee at some point in July or August. We're going to be potentially in New Jersey in September. And then we also have some things cooking for October. And then we have Garage Con in November. So we have a lot of things that are actually going on. And I know I'm being a little cryptic with what's going on and the dates and all that kind of stuff. And part of the reason for that is that there are a lot of moving parts. But as soon as I'm in a position to be able to tell you guys more, I absolutely will. For those folks that came in a little bit late, Doug and I will both be at San Diego Comic-Con the 21st through the 24th. Over the course of that time, we are going to be at the Short Boxed booth. We're going to be with Nerdy Girl, aka Danielle, and Sammy from Skeleton Key Comics. And then we're going to be at the CGC booth on Sunday. And so when we're there at those various booths, we are going to have copies of Isolation, fingers crossed, copies of Isolation available for people to be able to pick up, and you can just buy those books. You can turn them in to CGC, and then you can get your yellow labels from CGC, because Doug and I will be doing the signing. Aaron's asking, no C2E2, brother. We cannot go. We cannot go everywhere. I will tell you, the plane tickets are expensive, as are the hotels. All of this stuff is expensive. And so I don't want to go to a con, sell some stuff, and only pay for my hotel or my flight. Like, I don't want to do that. Beth is not cheap. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Delia is not cheap. Elena is not cheap. These artists cost a lot of money because they are incredibly talented and should be rewarded for that talent. And so we pay them pretty darn well. And I can tell you for a fact that printing is not cheap at all. So there is a possibility that we may show up more places. The big thing is when we show up someplace and we have stuff available, if people supports those things, then it puts us in a position to be able to do other things, because everything that we do lends itself to the next thing. So if you have not picked up a copy of Isolation, I definitely want to encourage you to head over to regiecollects.com and pick up some books. There are some really awesome variants in addition to the cover A, which is great. There is a 1 in 10. There is a 1 in 25. And then for Patreon members, there is also a 1 in 75 variant, ratio variant. And then there's also a premium cover. There's a premium cover that has a matte finish and a spot gloss that is fantastic. That is limited to 250 copies. So a lot of wonderful options depending upon what you want to spend, what you want to buy, what you want to collect. There's a lot of really wonderful options that are available. All right. A book tour, another. I will tell you, I have a lot of secrets. When does isolation will ship out the moment that I make an announcement on the channel that isolation is shipping. That's when it shipped. No, seriously. So the date that I've always given people is July. At some point in July, isolation will start to ship. The book has been printed. As of Friday, we are in line for the book to be bound. Once bound, it will be shipped to me. Once shipped to me, I will start bagging and boarding. I will start sorting. I will start processing orders and hopefully getting books out to people in a timely manner. Rest assured that I don't like holding people's money any longer than I have to. So I'm going to be busting hump trying to get books out to people. And rest assured that if you tune in to a live stream or an impromptu live stream or a social media post, when those books start going out, you will know. You will not miss it, especially if you placed an order. All right. So with that said, the more copies of Isolation we sell, the more secret. No doubt. I will tell you for a fact that Doug and I have so many conversations about the possibilities of what we could do. We never have a shortage of ideas. Ideas is not our problem, right? But we always have to do things smartly because, again, you have to pay for printing, you have to pay the artist, you have to pay the writer. Like, everybody that is involved should get paid. You have to pay for layout, you have to pay for labels and logos, and all that stuff costs money. And so everything lends itself to the next thing. And I can tell you, there are some people out there that have read this. And I'm trying to get it here. There are some people that have received the ash can of Isolation, and they have read the first couple of pages of this book. And I do believe that every single person has enjoyed what they've read, both the story and the artwork thus far. So I'm super pumped about this project. This has been one of the more amazing things that I've been a part of, and I cannot wait to get this book out to you guys so that you all can enjoy it and ultimately, hopefully, get this ball rolling so that we can do issue 2 and 3 and blah blah blah. I think Doug has 36 issues. Isolation is the new something is killing. Man. I just need a little bit of that magic. Let me tell you, I just want Aaron, you are a nut. Oh my goodness. Imagine if we get an Isolation TV series a couple of years from now. That would be insane. Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. That would be bananas. If that were to happen, that would be bananas. You know what I'm saying? But you never know. So you never know what the future holds. And if things are successful, it lends itself to bigger and better things. So you never know what the future holds. With that said, we are going to wrap this up. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me just a little bit. I want to thank Beth and the rest of the creative team and the production team that are involved with Isolation. Very, very cool project that I'm very thankful for. And again, happy 4th of July to everyone out there that is celebrating. Stay safe. And as always, if you need to get in touch with me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.
My body ate itself until it found its passion. They got fat while we starved, but it's power in fasting. Until I turn to ashes, I remain stoic through my rap heroics. I painted 10,000 poems, then I drank the potion of poetry and motion. I started choking, it was potent. My throat chakra downloaded, knowledge hungry. I was embarrassed I could ask my parents for money when I had a full tummy. So I asked for wisdom, better than crypto, sweeter than honey. I don't take it for granted, I don't wear capes and masks.